Hello and what's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe and become one of the bunnies, and if you're coming back, oh boy, we have a good video today. So I'm back, and with the monthly Valkyrie Rant for 5.0 update. Now, let's get things out of the way. Today we are answering 3 questions. What are the content we are expecting? How is this update providing lore-wise? And is the new Herrscher FTP friendly? So without further ado, let's just get started. This update sadly won't have a new chapter. Instead, the last 3 chapters will open to be playable. Now, we do have a summer event that will be taking place as the second half of the update, and as usual we have a grindable skin, and this time it will be for Station Nymph Sealy, as well as you have the ability to get her from the battle pass for 32 Lucians, so that's nice for newcomers. Finally, which is kinda nice, we have the login event in which will give you an A-ranked Valkyrie, and this time is gonna be Durandal, as well as a new swimsuit for Divine Prayer Kiana for free. Finally, MiHoYo introduced a new permanent mode called Elysian Realm, and I'm sure you've seen that girl floating around everywhere, unless you are living under an imaginary rock in the Sea of Quanta, and that should be it. In this mode, you will be introduced to the cores of the pioneers: Kevin, Elysia, Sue, Eden, Kaplas, Sakura, Mobius, and Fua. They are ranked by their power, being Kevin the strongest and Fua the weakest between the 8 that we have. In every stage, one of the pioneers will assist you depending on which pioneer you choose and what buff you pick from them. However, here's where things start going wrong. Unlike the breach mode we had in earlier updates, you are using your Valkyries, and if you don't have a strong one, well, it's too bad. You have to figure yourself out with what you have. And you gotta keep dying over and over and over and upgrading over and over until you actually be able to proceed and get and unlock more characters and more buffs, which is honestly a very big disadvantage. I was looking forward for something close to the breach or close to the malaria of the mind, where they would give you the Valkyries and you can unlock more Valkyries with time. But you see, the next problem is the content unlock. In order to unlock the cores, or what I call digi eggs, because I mean, come on, tell me they don't look like one. You have to keep grinding and doing 7 to 8 levels over and over again until you get this special token that you can unlock with, and that will be so rigorous and it will take you so much time to get at least one more piece of information from one of the cores of the pioneers. Now, the more you unlock, the more you understand about them and get rewards for that, but to get the rewards is so hard. You have to put 5 times more effort than just the nice, smooth, maybe a little bit more rigorous events that we have, and at the same time it contains a lot of discontinuations, disconnections, and jumping between the pioneers. You can't focus on one. Even though the stories are intertwined because they all know each other, it still feels very missing. You can't start with one pioneer and decide like, oh, I just want to go through all of them. You have to keep at least upgrading and leveling them up all together, because you will use their buffs later on. If I had to put my honest opinion, I would say this mode is just not refined enough. I mean, the game mechanics, the visuals are just beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, as always, like what we should expect. But the execution isn't FTP friendly or newcomer friendly, let alone the dialogues that we see are in 2D. I know it's refreshing to see a little bit of 2D in the game, but it feels like they just rushed something together. Like it's a little bit too rushed to be put in 5.0, honestly. Next up, let's talk lore. So from what I understand so far, the pioneers we are actually seeing are all simulations, including Elysia we see. This explains why in the imaginary space we see Eden, who died in the last era before going to the cryopods, Sakura, who died in the last era as well, and Keplas, who we still have no idea where he is, honestly, as of making of this video. This explains why Mobius was speaking to Valiona in the Sea of Quanta as well, and made a deal with her, as well as Sue, Kevin, and Fuwa being the only ones that are confirmed to be alive. And another important piece. Every pioneer tells May, one way or another, to be careful of Mobius and that she's really dangerous. So I think we might have a direct clash with her in 5.0. Now Mobius has the symbol of eternity and has Grey Serpent on her side at the PV, as well as the Snake Shadow in the back. So I can fairly say that she is Grey Serpent. But that means Mobius is working with Kevin, or in other words, she founded Grey Serpent and Kevin is working for her. The more you go through the pioneers and their cores, the more you learn about their motives, and you see some inconsistencies between the memory shards that you see and them when they are alive, because it stopped updating. Another piece that's been bothering me is the real reason why Kevin wanted May. Kiana already had 3 cores inside, and if May took one, Kevin knew that Kiana will get her hands on another gem. So maybe what he wanted isn't actually to save her. He just wanted to get a Herrscher to fight with him, just like what Otto was trying to do. And if that's the case, why didn't they try to do that last era? Last era, Himiko had her consciousness, and so did Rin, Sakura's sister. So maybe the idea came to mind to Mobius and not really Dr. May. We know that May and Mobius met. Mobius called her a white rat, which refers to being a lab rat. So I honestly guess Jackal lost the opportunity to study May because Mobius has her now. But until now, that's all the speculations we have, and the more we play, the more you unlock their stories and their interactions together and stuff like that. Finally, let's talk about the new Herrschers. And oh god, how should I start this? The short answer for her, being FTP friendly, newcomer friendly or not, is she is extremely demanding, but she is a must. Whether you are FTP or newcomer, she will literally change your game style. She is very similar to post Honkai Odyssey, and for that reason, I believe MiHoYo is shaping their game and their Valkyries to fit more into the new and upcoming story. So we know that now post Honkai Odyssey is actually canon, and it's a continuation, and it is what will happen in the future. So maybe their playstyle is actually continuation, and we are seeing more battle suits having the same kind of gameplay, because this is going to be the future that MiHoYo is looking for in Honkai Impact. Now for the long answer, the Herrscher of Flamescion is a fire battlesuit that we all dreamed of, and honestly, after the disaster of Durandal, any Fire Valkyrie is more than welcomed for me. Her playstyle is just phenomenal, whether it's aerial or ground combat. She is just a force of absolute destructions. However, she destroys herself in the process. Her insane loss of HP can be very annoying and will probably limit your ability to actually play and withstand damage and being in the battlefield for long. I mean, honestly, I've been playing her non-stop for over 2 weeks now, and she has never died with me from HP lost, unlike Blood Rose. But at the same time, I could thank my evasion ability and having Yamabuki armor on the team, so that should be taken into consideration. So now you might think, oh boy, a new Blood Rose, great. Well, not really. Her ult stops her from losing HP, as well as her cooldown. You see, when you hold her attack, she goes into Herrscher mode, and in Herrscher mode, she can do a lot of damage and start losing HP without gaining SP. So after that, she goes into a cooldown mode, in which you can't trigger her Herrscher form, but at the same time, she starts gaining SP. So if you are afraid of not having enough SP or HP, well, my comrade, I have a couple of very good recommendations. First of all, you have to secure an HP resource. For that, Divine Prayer can be your best friend, as she is a support. Her passive is really nice, and she can regenerate HP quite nice. And not to mention, she's FTP, she's free, you can grind her to triple S easily. Next up, you need to secure either an SP or a shield. For the SP, you could just use Azure Imprius, and she is fire elemental, so she can be really useful. Or Yamabuki armor, even though she's physical, her shield is still very useful. Now, you might not have Azure Imprius, and for that, Herrscher of Sentience can do, because she can still make a very good support team. Her abilities are really nice, and she's there, she could be very useful. Worst case scenario is you just came into Honkai and you don't have any of those nice Valkyries. What should you do? Well, you can use Sunkor on the Teresa. You can just drop her cross, let her gain SP. She is a fire element, so she's very useful in that. And she's support, and she's really FTP friendly. Finally, for Herrscher of Flamescion, Stigs and weapon. She is FTP friendly, so you don't have to worry about getting her Stigs. Just grind and get Talus or any Gen 1 or above Fire Stig should do. And her weapon, just the same thing. Just go Jingwing. It will just be as fine. I would recommend getting the Elf above getting the Stigs and the weapon, because Syrian buffs her really good. And she's really fun and cute in the battle. So I would definitely go with that, because you have other options, but the Elf, you don't have a lot of other options for that. And that will be it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I'll see you later. Bye.